All right, what we're gonna do today. I couldn't do any kind of practice. No, I did practice on the way, um, mostly while I'm commuting from work to home or from home to work. I mostly try to have conversation with ChatGPT, at least maintain my current level of speaking. But yeah, yesterday I had IELTS lessons. It may be a little bit, it may contribute a bit to my kind of speaking level, or we discussed some stuff, maybe my kind of language skills. However, unfortunately, yesterday I couldn't do kind of deliberate practice. Mostly, I use it to do live streams at night, but yesterday I didn't do as I felt really drained due to several reasons. And there was kind of some incidents during the day that really actually made me exhausted mentally and emotionally. And so, however, today I want to dedicate as much time as possible to my studies as the exam is coming, and as we can see, 16 days left. Unfortunately, it's not much time, but we should actually make most of it. And all right, so what to do? I think I will start from speaking. I should do speaking, practice with ChatGPT speaking. Mm, Of course, speaking and writing right now, my main priorities. I'm trying to pay more attention to them. I want to improve them because my last results were 7 from speaking and 6.5 from writing. I felt my writing got better. I can't say significantly, but at least I myself feel some progress in it. However, in terms of speaking, somehow I stuck and I cannot can overcome the 7.4 point 5 barrier. As you can see, yeah, from time to time I struggle in expressing my opinions. How to say clearly? Yes, it takes some time to generate ideas to deliver what I mean. It's because lack of practice, of course, because to be honest, I don't have enough opportunity to do practice to speak in English during the day. I do my best always. I try to speak to myself. I try to have conversation with ChatGPT, or I try to interact with my students, with my family members in English. Unfortunately, sometimes I fail following through this. So that's why I started streaming because, when we feel that somebody is watching us, we feel more responsible, as I mentioned it uh, before also in my live stream videos. The main purpose of my live streaming is for me, hold myself accountable. And in the future, someone may use it while practicing, while preparing for IELTS. They may see how it's like to get prepared for IELTS, what they could do. Of course, what I am doing is not enough, as I have background and foundation, as I'm a teacher and I learned English. I have been learning English actually for several years. Um, I may not be spending enough time, but as a student, as someone who's taking the test for the first time, I think they need to spend more than 6 or 7 hours a day, my personal view, if they are aiming at higher score. And if you want to upgrade your score, also, of course, you need some fixed dedicated time. Just thinking about taking tests and just doing your everyday stuff, I experienced it that can help you to improve your score. You need special preparation. So speaking, maybe I'm gonna think about it. And writing, I should do writing. Task one, mm, task two, practices. And what else? Task one, task two, listening, reading, I don't know. Somehow I'm unwilling to do them. I don't know, out of laziness or I'm not sure. Even I don't want to do honestly speaking and writing also. I want to kind of take a rest or just watch something in English podcast or something interesting. However, exam requires practice. Just kind of watching something or reading something is not enough to get better in language skills. All right, so speaking may take about 30 minutes, let's say. Writing 30 minutes plus 15 minutes. Okay, so it's gonna be around two and a half. Yeah, 2.5 hours. Okay, how is it called? 2.5 hours or 2 hours and a half? I don't know. I mostly turn to ChatGPT to make sure that I'm using proper language. Mostly I can express my ideas. I can actually explain what I want to say. However, most of them may not sound natural because I didn't learn language as most of students learning, or as the language should be learned naturally. Like you have to learn some vocabulary, some grammar, and you should use them. You should speak, you should listen, you should read. No. My problem was not only me, the people who studied in my era. I can't say era, so yeah, it sounds really old, I guess. The people who studied, the people who are at the same age of me, for my, let's say, generation, we learned firstly grammar and vocabulary, mostly grammar. We learned grammar because at that time we had to take entrance exams, and there were tests from mostly English grammar. Then there were kind of, if I'm not mistaken, eight reading tests. So our main priority was learning grammar and as advanced as possible. And tests were designed to actually make students fail, not make them motivated or encouraged to learn a language. However, it has changed completely. I'm happy about that. I have problem. I know a lot of grammar. I know a lot of vocabulary, but the problem is that I cannot use them naturally or precisely because I didn't use them or I haven't used them enough. I don't have natural collocations as I didn't kind of listen in English while I was learning grammar and vocabulary. I have these problems. That's why mostly I try to make sure that I'm using proper collocation or a proper way of saying something. Now let's ask 2.5 hour or 2 hours and a half. 2.5 hours, correct. Right. We say number and a half, plural now. 1.5 hour, 3.5 days, 3.5 years. One sound more natural, about 2.5 hours, roughly 2.5 hours. Right, all right. As you can see, ChatGPT is very useful. AI, I mean that overall AI. You gotta use AI tools if you want to kind of improve your language properly. I mean that if you want to speak well. Mm, properly. If you want to speak well. Okay, speaking. All right. What should I do? I gotta send speaking questions for my IELTS students also. I may use this too. Just a second. I should find the speaking questions. Choose part two. I talked about what shows plants part two. Neuroscience taught a successful person you admire. And part three should be part three should be athletes and sports. Right, I'll take the questions from my IELTS group. I sent them. All right. So let's do practice. All right, so what I want you to do is asking me these questions one by one. You should kind of act as if you are my IELTS examiner.
Of course, let's keep it natural and conversational. I'll ask each question, and when you finish answering, I'll move on to the next one. Ready? First question.
Of course,
Do you
let's
keep
keep it
plants?
natural and conversational. I'll ask each question, and when you finish answering, I'll move on to the next one. Ready?
Yes,
First
exact.
question.
Do you keep plants?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, can you repeat the question, please?
No problem.
Do you keep plants?
Um, Honestly, no, I don't. I use it to keep plants in my old house. However, after we moved to new house, due to some kind of problems related to space and sunlight, I stopped keeping them.
Thank you. Next question. Have you ever had a plant?
One more thing, please. Can you give estimate IELTS score for each question that I answered?
Absolutely. After each answer, I'll briefly tell you how you did. I'll highlight strengths and
No,
any
I don't
issues.
need highlighting strengths. You can only kind of give feedback about my mistakes and estimate score. Please, can you give estimate score and feedbacks about my mistakes for the first question?
For your first answer, I'd estimate around a band 6.5. You communicated clearly, but there was a slight structure slip with due to some problems related to space and sunlight. It could be more fluid or rephrased. Let's keep going and aim higher.
All right, let's go.
All right. Next question. Have you ever had a plant?
Yes, I have. I grew a plant 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. In my old apartment, we had some kind of home flowers.
I'd estimate this one at about a band 7. You communicated well, but you hesitated slightly with if I'm not mistaken, and kind of home flowers could be more precise, like houseplants. Overall, though, you're on track.
Okay, next question.
Do you know anything about growing a plant?
And I haven't read anything in the textbook or something official. However, from my personal experience, I know that we shouldn't water them a lot and we should keep them in the place that has a lot of sunlight, and we should take care of them daily. I know this information about it.
I'd place this around band 7. Your ideas were clear, but a small slip, we shouldn't water them a lot, might be rephrased for nuance. Also, take care of them daily could be more specific. But overall, your fluency and coherence were solid.
It would be better if you tell me the better version of this slipped moments.
Of course, for example, instead of we shouldn't water them a lot, you might say it's important not to overwater them. And instead of take care of them daily, you could say something like they need daily attention, like checking the soil or pruning.
All right, so next question.
What plants did you grow when you were younger?
Well, to be honest, I don't know their name exactly, but they were house plants, which my mom gave me actually, and they were very small. I remember, and over time they got bigger, which really surprised me. Yes, I remember once I had a cactus also. However, because of lack of attention, I think it dried up, unfortunately.
I'd estimate around band 6.5 here. You communicated naturally, but there were minor grammar slips, like their name instead of their names, or which my mum gave me could be that my mum gave me. Also, over time is singular, but your detail and self correction is strong, so keep it up.
Yeah, what's the problem? What's the difference between which my mom gave me and that my mom gave me?
Grammatically, that is typically used for defining clauses. Essentially, it's standard, which is more often used in non defining clauses with extra information. In your sentence, that my mum gave me defines which plants you're talking about. So that fits better. It's more about clarity of what is essential versus extra detail.
All right, let's move on to the next question.
Do people in your country send plants as gifts?
Interesting.
I'm ready when you are. Go ahead and give your full answer when you're ready, and I'll listen closely.
I think yes. To be honest, I don't have enough information about it, but I remember cases that my friend has sent cactus or some house plants to their other friends as they work in office. But in general, I think it's not a popular type of gift in our country.
I'd estimate this around a band 6.5. You communicated your ideas well, but there were some tense slips, like my friend sent instead of has sent. Also, in general, I think it's not popular, could flow more naturally as overall it's not a common gift. But your examples were clear.
So let's move to another question.
Now we'll move to part 2. I'll give you a topic, and you'll have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I'll let you know when to start and when to stop. Ready?
Okay, just a second. Let me have pen and pencil and paper.
Take your time. Let me know when you're ready, and I'll give you the cue card topic.
Stopwatch. Come on, give me the cue card.
Describe a successful sports person you admire. You should say who this person is, what they have achieved, how you know about them, and explain why you like them. You have 1 minute to prepare. Go ahead.
Well, I'm ready to speak.
All right, go ahead and speak for up to 2 minutes. I'll let you know when the time is up. Whenever you're ready, begin.
Well, right now I'm going to talk about one of the global icons who I really admire. His name is Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a football player and he's a media celebrity at the same time. And he's a really great person and he has achieved a lot in his life. If I talk about his achievements, I think he had a lot of trophies, including the Euro championships, and he has become, if I'm not mistaken, the winner of different competitions. For example, the Golden Ball or Golden Boots. To be honest, I'm not sure about their name. He is really famous, and at the same time, I can say he has accumulated huge amount of money. He's really wealthy. He has really beautiful house, nice cars, and more than that, he's really respected person. Most teenagers and young generation look up to him, and everybody, I think, most people, not everybody, most people get inspired by his actions. And the main reason why I admire him is not only his success or his professional career, but it's his personality too. He's really nice and polite person. He's always down to earth. And furthermore, he has a really kind heart. And you can see the charities that he has made to different people, including young children or disabled people, and furthermore, also he's so successful. Mostly he own up to his own mistakes also, and he makes others aware of not making this kind of mistakes. I think my time is up.
Yes, that's great. You spoke for a solid 2 minutes. At the end, I'll give you a full summary of your performance, including your estimated score and any mistakes. Let's jump to part three.
No, wait a minute. I don't need it at the end. I need it now. My estimated score and my mistakes too.
Of course, I'd estimate this as around a band 7. You had strong fluency in detail, but you had a few slips. For example, he had a lot of trophies, could be he has won many trophies. Also, he is a media celebrity at the same time, could be more concise, like he's also a media icon. Overall, though, it was a clear, well organised response.
All right, let's move to part three.
Perfect, let's keep up the flow. Here's your first part 3 question. Should students have physical education and do sports at school?
All right, yes, they should, because as we know, our the main thing in our life is our health, yeah? And it's directly connected to the physical activities that we do. And mostly we tend to do more physical activities when we do sports. So if children are brought up kind of with sport or doing physical activities, I think it will kind of become habit in the future too. As a result, kind of we'll have healthy generation, healthy children, which I can say the core of any kind of society or country.
That was thoughtful. After we finish your set of part 3 questions, I'll give you your overall
No, no, no,
estimate.
no, 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 no. Okay, listen, I need the estimate score for each my answer.
Got it. For that answer, I'd say around a band 7. You gave a strong argument, but there were a few minor slips, like the main thing in our life is our health. Health doesn't need a plural. Also, brought up with sport could be brought up doing sports. Still, you supported your ideas well. Let's continue with the next question when you're ready.
Yeah, yeah, I'm ready. Come on.
All right, the next question. Is it easy to identify children's talents?
I think no, it's not easy. As we know, children are flexible and they tend to change a lot over different periods of their childhood. and it requires special attention. I think maybe some kind of psychological or medical check too. However, you may get the grasp of it. And overall, you can find what kind of field children are into, but I'm sure that you can't be kind of 100% confident about it, but you can kind of guess it in most cases. But in general, I think it's quite difficult to identify it.
I'd rate this around band 6.5. You expressed your view well, but there were some slicks. They tend to change a lot over different periods of childhood, could be more fluid, such as throughout different stages of childhood. Also, a grease of it may have been a slip. Perhaps you meant a general sense. Still, your structure and reasoning were clear. Let's keep going when you're ready.
Right, move to next question.
Is talent important in sports?
Absolutely, because you may be hardworking or you may do your best, but there are moments that talent plays a role too. Without talent, I think it's impossible to beat your opponents. But of course, you should be hardworking. Also, at the same time, having a talent gives you upper hand. It's kind of we can describe it as if we can describe it like the two wings of a bird. As we know, a bird can't fly with one wing, so the talent and dedication and hard work, they are kind of strongly connected. Having only one of them kind of can help us to be successful or to be the best in the field.
I'd estimate this around band 7. Your idea was clear and the analogy was nice. Just watch out for phrasing. Without talent, it's impossible to beat opponents. Might be softened, since hard work can still lead to success. And it can't help us should be, it won't help us. But overall, your structure was strong. Let's move to the next question when you're ready.
If I'm ready, just move to the another question without asking.
What characteristics do you think an athlete should have?
All right, just a second. I need some urgent. Okay, just a second. I gotta call my mother. Then I'll answer.
No problem at all. Take your time, and when you're ready to jump back in, I'll be here. Wa alaikum assalam. Я здесь, когда вы снова будете готовы.
And you can listen to us. So I was talking to my mom, and I think, accepted as my my words to you. Yes.
No worries at all. I did catch that, but I understand you were talking to your mum. Whenever you're ready to focus back on the practice, just let me know and we'll pick up right where we left off.
I'm ready. Come on, right now we can have conversation. Come on, you can ask the question one more time, please.
Great, let's jump right back in. The question was, what characteristics do you think an athlete should have?
All right. There are so many things. I think, first of all, work ethic. It's the most important thing. And you have to dedicate yourself 100% to your sport if you want to be one of the toppest in the world or in your field. Secondly, dedication, persistence. And if you have to be persistent because it's not easy to be successful if you just stop when you can come across some kind of obstacles. Um, what
I
else? Maybe let's see. Um, I think that's it.
No worries, I'd say that's around band 7. You had strong ideas, work ethic, persistence, but you repeated dedication slightly. Also, if you come across obstacles would be smoother than when you come across some kind of obstacles, that your structure was logical. Let's tackle the next question when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, let's go on. Why are there so few top athletes?
I think it's because of high competitiveness. Because as you know, there is only one winner in most games, in most sport. So to be the best, it requires to spend more time than others, and you gotta be more talented than others. You have to polish your talent, and at the same time, you should use all new technologies, strategies. There are so many things that you have to handle. Then, if you are able to kind of juggle all of them, then you can be the top. And unfortunately, it's not so easy for everyone. Sometimes you have to sacrifice your kind of family relations. Sometimes you have to sacrifice your leisure activities. But most people don't want it. And that's why we have a very few top athletes, or we have very few people who can achieve the highest level of sport, let's say.
I'd estimate this around band 7. You gave a detailed answer. Just watch out for minor slips. High competitiveness was good, but in most sports would be smoother than in most sport. Overall, your explanation had great reasoning and examples.
So
Ready for
what's wrong with saying most sports?
Ah, good question. Sport is typically an uncountable noun when we talk about the concept, but when referring to different types, football, tennis, etc., we use sports in the plural form. So when you mean multiple types of sports, most sports is the correct choice.
What did I mean in my speech?
In your speech, you meant different types of games like football or basketball. So the correct way to say it was in most sports, since you were referring to multiple categories. I understood what you meant. Just a minor grammar point.
But I think I said in most sports. I said in most sports. Sorry. My bad.
No worries at all. It's easy to miss little things when you're speaking. What matters is you're reflecting on it now, and that's how you improve. Let's keep that momentum. Are you ready for your final question?
Let's set momentum. Yes, I'm ready.
All right, the last one. What is the most popular sport in your country?
All right. Nowadays, we can see some kind of fluctuation. What do you mean that there are several sports that people kind of favor nowadays? The most popular, of course, it's football. However, we can see the kind of the growth or increase in popularity in chess and boxing also, as most of the kind of players from our country are achieving high results in world arenas. Our people's kind of appeal towards the sports is growing.
I'd place that around band 6.5. You
Mhm.
had good content, but a few slicks. Appeal towards sports is growing could be interest in sports is growing. Also, what I mean is that would be smoother than what I mean that. But your reasoning was clear and you showed trends well.
Do we have any questions left?
I think we covered everything. You had a solid run through these part 3 questions. If anything else pops up, feel free to ask anytime.
No, what oral score can I get or could I get for this performance?
Overall, I'd estimate you around a band 7 for this performance. You had clear ideas, good fluency, and you supported your points well. There were a few slips, minor grammar issues or repetition, but overall, you communicated effectively. With a
All
bit
right.
more
Thank
polishing,
you
you're
for
on a great track.
compliment. But I'm stuck at this level. How to overcome it? Is there any kind of strategies or techniques that have been used or that would be really helpful to make it better?
I hear you.
Moving from that plateau often means shifting focus to more nuanced areas.
One strategy is deliberate practice with feedback.
Record answers, listen back, and correct tiny details.
Also, incorporate more advanced structures or vocabulary intentionally each time.
Another tip: vary your sources.
Listen to high level podcasts, mimic their style.
With consistency, you'll break through that ceiling.
Um, but what do you think? What about having conversation with you or doing practice with you? I think instead of just recording my voice, would it be better to do practice with you, or can the recording has any kind of um, more benefits?
Honestly, both have their place. Live practice with me helps you think on your feet and get instant feedback, like in a real test. But recording yourself adds a layer of self awareness. You catch things you might not notice in the moment, like repeated phrases or tone.
So, a mix of both is ideal: real time practice for fluency and recordings for self correction.
By the way, I am live streaming right now our conversation. I think does it count if I watch the videos that I am having conversation with you instead of just recording myself and listening to it?
Yes, watching your live streams later can absolutely count. Seeing yourself in action often reveals things you might miss in the moment, like body language, pacing, or little habits. Just be sure you still focus on the audio details too, as that helps refine your speaking. It's a great tool.
By the way, I'm not showing my face. I'm not using the camera. I'm just streaming the screen of my laptop.
That works too. Even if it's just audio in your screen, you'll still catch patterns in your language, how you structure ideas, your tone, and pace. You don't need video of yourself to improve your speaking. The key is reviewing your performance and applying what you learn, so your live stream playback can definitely be valuable.
So I gotta think about, but it seems somehow boring, mundane to kind of watch or listen to your own speech again. But kind of based on your feedback, I think I need it because I've been taking this score for a long time. It's true sometimes I get 7.5 or 8 also while being practice with you. Um, but overall, in most conversations, I end up with getting 6.57, mostly 7, but and then in some cases 6.52. That's which I'm not expecting in real exam. Can you explain me the questions that I kind of got 6.5? Why I got 6.5? Which criterion was the reason for getting this low score?
Your 6.5 moments usually come down to one of a few criteria. It might be occasional grammar slips, slightly repetitive vocabulary, or moments when coherence gets a bit shaky, like not fully developing an idea. When you get a 7 or above, you tend to be more consistent. Wider vocabulary, fewer slips, and ideas flowing logically. So, focusing on polishing those weaker patterns, grammar precision, deeper ideas, and more varied language will boost that consistency.
All right, all right. Right now, what do you recommend me to rewatch our conversation and kind of take notes of my mistakes, or do another practice, or kind of get better version of my answers from you and prepare for these questions?
I'd recommend a combination.
First, rewatch this conversation and jot down patterns, like grammar slips or where you could expand ideas.
Then have another practice session, applying what you noticed.
Afterward, I can give you enhanced sample answers so you see how to push them further.
Iterating between self review and live practice gives you the best growth.
All right, thank you very much.
You
And can you mention my common mistakes here? What I mean that the grammar slips that I made, and the vocabulary slips, and the correct versions of them?
Sure.
For example, you said kind of quite a bit. Try using alternatives like somewhat or just leaving it out.
When you said, the appeal towards the sports, it should be the appeal of sports. And what I mean that should be what I mean is that. Correcting these small structures and varying your expressions will help you sound even smoother.
Seems somehow you're contradicting yourself or not. Because when I say what I mean is that, you said no, it should be what I mean that.
Ah, I'm sorry if that sounded confusing. Actually, what I mean is that is correct. I was encouraging that exact phrase earlier. If I ever misspoke, I appreciate your patience. So, yes, keep using what I mean is that going forward.
Can't find it. Where is it? Ah, you said what I mean is that would be smoother than what I mean that. All right, all right.
Exactly. So, the smooth and correct form is what I mean is that. I'm glad we clarified that. If anything ever sounds contradictory, always feel free to ask. We've got it now.
I think I have to take a rest because just before we start practice, I had you know, 1.5 hours lesson. Oh, how is it called? 1.5 hour lesson, right?
You'd say I had a 1.5 hour lesson. The tricky part is that when it's an adjective, like describing the lesson, we keep it singular, hour. But yes, if you've had that long of a session, absolutely take a rest. Let me know when you're ready next time.
No. So if I use it as a noun, it should be 1.5 hours. Yes, 1.5 hours.
Yes, you've got it. When you're just talking about the amount of time as a noun, you'd say 1.5 hours. Perfect.
All right, great. So I'm gonna take rest, and I may think about other tasks. What was that? I think writing task one and task two. But after you advising me, uh, listening, uh, kind of listening or rewatching my
That
speech, I think I should I should consider it too.
Exactly. Give yourself a break, and when you're ready, revisiting what you said will help you spot those patterns. Bit by bit, you'll see steady progress. When you're ready, writing or speaking, I'll be here to help.
All right, thank you. I'm ending the session. So, now where is my live stream? Here we go. 45 minutes. Okay, later I'll start another live stream. Now I need a bit rest.